You can just use the history to walk you through history. If you just remember, like, that you might have uh, performed some particular command, or you might have used some command to, perform any of the activity, and you just wanted to have a quick reference to it, like what you have performed or what is the command which you ran. So in that case, history will have the command history which we have, and there is also a limitation for it. It won't save like thousands of it. So the moment it reached around 500 or 520, it will clear out the previous commands and all. So yeah, and there is a concept called shell scripting, correct? So shell scripting is nothing but, see, whatever the command which you run, whether it is echo, hello world, or any plain command which you perform. So whenever you just type ls, it's trying to print you some file, and whenever you try to perform an echo operation, let's say whenever you are doing touch, what is it doing? It's trying to create a file. So it's creating a file, correct? So whenever you touch file 1, it's creating a file 1. And if you are trying to make echo hello world to be written inside this file, whether to write or append, so it's better to use the double arrow symbol. If you intentionally want to override the content, you can use the single arrow. So, and what would be the content of file 1? It would be hello world, which you have written inside the file 1. So shell script is nothing but just framing all these commands together. What was the command which we have used? Touch file 1, and then echo hello world file 1. So one thing is, you can just check what is the command which I told you to check whether the a software is installed or not. Which or correct? Which sh? Yeah. Can you guys please mute yourself? Okay, there is an option. Got it. Yeah. Which sh? So which sh will tell you which cells, where is the particular sh. Sh stands for the shell. So where is that shell got installed? So user bin shell. And yeah, for now you can just try to understand, like, so the which command will tell you the location of the software where it got installed. So the software which we have installed is, eh, we haven't installed, but we just wanted to check the sh location, because I wanted all these files to be created, or like all this set of commands to be in a automated manner. So I don't want to perform any of the the command manually on my terminal. I just wanted to run a script so that it has to perform the commands which I wanted. So we'll see. So by using the which command, you can know, like, where the particular software got installed. So this is the path where the shell script, the shell software exists. So there are a couple of different shells also, which is bash and KSS also, but I don't think KSH present over here. Yeah, there is no KSH. So Perl. So the very basic shell, and most of the times, the syntax will be similar. Syntax in the sense, the same commands. Which are the commands you are able to perform on the terminal, you are going to place them in a file. That's it. So just write down a script.sh. So .sh, or whether you give or you don't give, but that is just for the purpose of representation, like, okay, this is a shell script. So vim.sh, so insert mode, and you're gonna tell the commands which you want. What is the command to create a file? Touch empty file. So it's gonna create a file, empty file, and you're going to put some content which is hello world, writing into empty file. So you wanted to append this content into empty file. This is good. So when you run the script should understand like how it will have to understand, how it have to run them. So when you run the where command, so there are sh and there is bash, there is perl, and there would be multiple software. So you are going to mention which software the script has to use. So in order to tell that, this is called interpreter, hash and exclamatory mark. So this is very important, guys. This hash and interpret this exclamatory mark is called as shebang or hashbang, which stands for hash and a bang symbol. So this tells the interpreter, like the program which it is running the script to perform the next set of commands in the using the this particular software. So hash and exclamatory mark. So where is my bash? It is in user bin sh. So this is the path, right, guys? This is the path of my software, and these two letters I am telling the operating system, or the operating system to interpret the next set of next lines on the program to be run using the sh. So the moment you run this script, what it will do, it will run this command, this line. So when you run this line, the interpreter will be changed to the shell script, and then it will perform the next commands in the shell mode, which are like touch can be understand by shell, and echo this can be understand by the shell. So what is the command to save and quit? I am not able to
W,
move the cursor where I have to type on the screen. Yeah, in the Vim editor you have to type alphabet I, which will take you to the insert mode. So what is the command to save and exit?
WNQ.
Perfect. Escape colon WQ. You can see the command at the bottom. It's been printed. So now just clear my screen and just see like whether the script is there or not. Yes, script.sh. So cat script.sh. So yeah, this is the content of my file. So there is no file called empty file, but just try to run the script, which is very when you try to run any script, directly like this script.sh, it will try to understand as a command because you are not specifying any path over here. If you wanted to specify the path like dot slash, which is like in my current directory, dot slash represent the current directory. So there is a difference between just simply specifying script.sh, because when you just simply specify script.sh, the operating system will try to understand it as a command. So it will try to run a command called script.sh, but there is no command with the name called script.sh, but there is a file in my current directory. So you can access using the dot slash. So you just hit run. That's it. Do you see any output on the screen, or do you see any lines which are being passed? So this you can just try to do an ls. Let's see an empty file. So do we have this file earlier? No. So let's see the content of this file. Yes. So whatever the echo statement which we are making, it's been saved into the file. Are you able to get it, guys? Perfect. Can you please go to top on my for what? Hmm. Which command do you want to see? I think, yeah. What do you want to see on my screen? It says permission denied. Yes, the people who are accessing on Linux and the Mac change the permission because by default it's permission. I said ls-l empty file. So since it is the NTFS file system on the Windows, it can, even though there is no execute permission for the user, since I am running as an administrator because I am the user who logged in, right? So you change the permission like chmod. Just, yeah, I will tell for the users who are practicing on Mac and Linux. So perform the command chmod u plus x and the script. So perform this command like chmod u plus x, and if you cannot practice with you, we won't be able to learn. Yes, that is the purpose we are recording the session. If you miss anything, you can go back and learn it. So yes, which command do you want me to go? Let's say I will just type in history so that you can see like what are the commands which I have done. So history, yes. So these are the commands which I have used. So chmod, I told you to use it for the users who are on Linux or Mac. So cat, and I have created vim script.sh. Or do you want me to open the script.sh so that you can see the content of script.sh? Could you please confirm on the chat channel so that I can open the file? Unless, sorry, I didn't get you. No, no, no. Should it be root? No, it's not a root. Just, yeah, perfect. Thanks. No, which command would you like to see? Okay, let me just walk you through again. See, uh, have you understood this command? Like which? So which will tell you which software you are running. Clear? I was asking how to insert and all on. Fine. Okay. Vim. Got it. Okay. No problem. Yeah, I will repeat it. Yeah. Just and I will repeat it and will show you the content also. So just observe the class and then you try to practice. So we'll give a minute for that. So just I'm clearing my screen. Okay, perfect. Now let's say, yeah, forget about this one. CD to first folder. Okay, clear. So ls, do we have anything? Yeah, just an empty folder, but there is no content in it. So write down as I'm just trying to see there is an echo hello world. So this line will print you a message on the screen. So in order to print this message on the screen, I wanted to print this echo statement into. So why is this useful? Something like whenever your file is ran successfully, like file script executed successfully, like script executed successfully. You wanted to print this message whenever your script is successfully ran. So what you should do? So you should create a log file, correct? Touch log file. So this will create an empty file, correct? ls. So log file is created. What is the content of log file? There is nothing because touch will create an empty file. So now run the command echo successfully, script executed successfully. Run this command, but you should give this greater than symbols in order to save the content, write the file, write the content, this particular output into the log file. So clear. Now just type cat log file. You see the file is written with the content called script executed successfully, and this script like whatever the commands which I performed, I wanted to write inside my s script.sh, or my some shell script. So script. So now try without having .sh, like, so just .sh is to tell you, like, it's like shell script. So you need not, and that's the file name. So like hit I, you need to type I. It will take you to the insert mode, and then type in the commands which you have performed. What are the commands which you performed? Touch, logs, like log. So log is the file name. Now what is the output which you wanted to write inside the script? Like script executed successfully. And this message you have to write into the respective log file. And these are the two commands which you wanted to run as part of the script. And there are plenty of softwares on the operating system, so it cannot understand which software to use to write these files. So especially for shell script, you have to mention the interpreter hash and exclamatory mark to tell which software it has to use. So user bin sh. Why I am giving this user bin sh the path like this? Because I have verified the shell where it got installed using which command, which space sh will give you this path. So you can just hit escape, colon, and WQ. So now you can see the script.sh. So you see when you hit the command cat, you can see the output of you can see the content of script.sh. Now run the script.sh. It will create log. Why? It will run this command touch log. So it will create an empty file. And after creating the touch log, it will write down the content into the file. So you can view the log. Am I clear? Can you try now? Let's take let's take a minute and try it. So if you face any issue, we'll resolve them. How to insert here? You have to just type in I. After opening the Vim some file name. So after opening some file name, you have to insert the uh, alphabet I from the keyboard. Yeah. Were you able to do it? Perfect. Great. Thanks. Yep. So I don't want to save this file, this sum file name. What is the command to quit without saving? Install shell on Windows. No, you need not install shell on Windows. You can just have the git bash. So if you install the git bash, that is enough. Perfect. Hash and q q and exclamation mark. Perfect. Don't want to save the file. Escape colon q exclamation mark. So that my file will not be saved. So there is no file got created with the name some file name. Perfect. Let's see some questions. Perfect. Yeah, Surendra Paudel. So you need not install shell. So you can just have the git bash. So when you go to the git bash, you open like after installing the git bash, so you can open it from the start menu. So the moment you open the git bash, you can some like the shell and which sh. So actually this, if you try to run it from the command, you have to use the where command. You know, Windows doesn't get installed with sh or the bash. It's the uh, git bash terminal which it is doing, like which it got installed with the user bin and bash this particular file system. So that's the reason I just insisted you to use the git bash on the Windows so that you can learn the some Linux commands. Clear everyone? Yes, you can get that particular. Thanks, Roshni. So yes, you can just download the git sem, sorry, git bash software from the Windows version of the software. So you can install whether it is 32-bit or 64-bit, and you can go through the respective installation step. It's just straightforward. You can click next, next, and install. Yep. So every SHY needs to change the permission using change mode. Yes, because shell script, any SH file or shell script uh, can do many things. Like it's like an executable file. So mostly not any file, right? Actually, any executable we can say. So any executable, whenever you are trying to make it create it on the Linux or the screen, can't see whole screen. It is zoomed in. Do you all have the same problem? Is it? Were you able to see my screen? Maybe you can try rejoining. So if it was fine, yeah. So Pawan, could you please rejoin? Yeah. So what I'm saying is like if it is an executable, we need to change the permission. So all shell scripts are executables. So it will ask the permission, to it by default execute permission will not be there. Yeah, it will be in either read mode or in a write mode, read and write mode. So even for the user or for a group or a, so mostly for set of groups, there won't be, yeah, fine. Got it? Bhupendra, I got the point. Like if since it is the executable, we cannot, we have to change the permission. So mostly it would be read and write permission beginning at the beginning of the script, like the file creation. Yes, got it. Thanks. Yes. Now let's say this is the script, and the user like since I just sorry, I'm just quitting of it. Hmm, yeah, let's go to Vim. What is the file script? Yeah, Vim script.sh. Yeah, so this is a script, and let's say you all people as a team are working on some project, and you wanted to make some changes to make this application big and work better. So let's say, yeah, great. Thanks. Yeah, just try to concentrate on this case. So we are not doing any practical session. It says bad interpretation when I use yes. So first try where sh, and this will give you the output something like let me give you where sh what sorry which sorry don't run that which sh, where sh, try to run which sh. So which sh will give you the output like this. So you need to mention this particular path in your first line of the script using this hash and exclamatory and then the path usr bin sh. So then the interpreter will try to understand the further commands as the interpret this respective shell interpreter. Yep. So now let's say I have we are just trying to work on this particular. So we all as a team, shared some work among us and trying to work on this script and and then you have introduced some change and another echo statement saying like uh, uh, some message got the exception. So someone is working on the exception handling, and let's say someone is working on uh, let's say some print logic. And just forget about like what is that logic, what is that exception. Just like the common stuff. As a DevOps guys, we don't used to write any code or or like not big code or the program codes. So let's say this is the scenario. So the scenario is you all as part of team are trying to make this application bigger. So as part of it, so you definitely need to some sort of code or through the existing code or some new files. So let's say print logic was assigned to person one and so this exception was assigned to person two. And let's say person two just concentrates about only writing this particular line, correct? So which will enable the exception. And person one will be concentrating on only the print logic. But at the end of the day, these two has to go into the respective file and they should work together, correct? Even just by introduction of the exception, it shouldn't fail the script, or even just by the introduction of print logic, it shouldn't fail the script. So, and by introduction of these two, like the exception line and the logic, it shouldn't fail the script to perform any of the previous commands or the previous functionalities and all. So in order to do that, what we should do, we have to effectively collaborate this particular code and also need to see what exactly is being modified and how the stuff, I'm just trying to make this arrow purposefully singular because every time when I run the script, it would be only these three lines. So the first arrow would be to override and the next arrows would be to just append to the file. So I'm just trying to run the script and want to see the cat log. So it so my so how can I do it? The problem is like there are like in my code base there is file 1, file 2 and the requirement to implement a new logic. Let's say uh, just for the purpose of the explanation, let's try to see this one. Let's say uh, Sagar from our class is assigned with some task. Well, his task is to uh, create a new file. So he will be going to create a new file called file3. And who else? Yeah. So So Bhupender was given a task to, sorry, Bhupendra, sorry for the spelling mistake. Bhupendra was given a task to add a logic to catch the exception, or just print some statement to print the error message or success message. So let's say this file 1 and file 2 are inside a project folder, correct? So where does Sagar have to create a file? Inside a project folder. So you have to cd to project folder, correct? And then what is the command you should use to some, let's say, since they have the requirement is to create a new file, you just have to create a file called touch file 3 and leave it. So his work is done. And some logic to print messages. So you can go to cd to the project folder and work on, let's say, file 1. So in a you will just to echo error or success message. So you'll just append this to the the logic inside a file 1. So if you observe, both are working on a same project folder. And if it is the logic is very straightforward, like simple logic, it would be easy to handle. But in the cases like, so where whether it is a small logic or a big logic, so if you wanted to club these two logics, like the one which is done by the Sagar and the one which is done by the Bhupendra, if you wanted to merge them and deploy it, or use it for your particular project, so it's how easy or how hard it would be if suppose there is a tool which can do it, like Sagar need not worry about the files or like the changes with the other team members are doing, or the Bhupendra doesn't need not to worry about the files which are being changed by the others. So whether it is a new file or whether it is a old file, whether it is an existing file. So there is a concept called version control. So initial version, initial version of my project folder have two files with some set of lines in it. Let's say then file 1 there are the line count. What is the line count command? Perfect. Yep, we are coming to it. Yes. So what is the command to see the line count? wc-l. Yeah, wc-l returned me. Let's say I have some 5 lines of code, and in my line in my file 2 I have some again another set of 5 lines of code. So when Sagar created a new file, so in this is my initial version of my project. So when Sagar commits a change, it would be a, a new version on my initial version. So let's say this is my first version. Let's say this is my second version. Second version of my code have a new file. And in my third version, I'm gonna have the changes like a new line, something like a new line in file 1. So with this, the wc-l will return me 6 lines. So at the end of the day, sorry, at the end of the day, after after clubbing these two changes, what would be the latest version? Which latest version will have all three files: file 1, file 2, and file 3, and then file 1 with the 6 lines and file 2 with the 5 lines. And since file 3 is an empty file, it won't have any line, but it will have, there will be a file existing in the source control system. So in order to do this, the simple way, and there were clear case and the version control systems, the VCS softwares. So VCS, we call it VCS, version control systems or softwares. So this VCS, like there are softwares like clear case. So it used to be taking this particular, the project folder as a centralized folder, and from the centralized folder a view will be created by Sagar and a view will be created by Bhupendra, and they will work on it. And once they are done with their changes, they'll update the master. They will update the central repository. So if any issues with this particular change, it will be gone. So there won't be any replication or the replication of the central code repository. So there is a software called Git. So Git VCS, version control system, is a distributed. So when I say distributed, even though there is an initial version of the project folder with in a centralized server, there is a possibility in the same centralized server to create a respective and the same replica. So when you create the same replica, whatever the version history or the version changes, or like uh, if you all the information like uh, this particular project folder has will be created in the same replica. So those replicas are nothing but called branches. So Git is a version control system. Sorry. And in Git, let's say it, so you will try to understand like what does that replica, like what are the different commands which you use. So I will make sure that you will be get well versed with the commands, the basic commands, and like so let's say there is a version 1, and in this is at the central repo or like repository. So this is like code repository we call the central repo, or you can just call it as like by drawing like central repo and local repo. That would be more understandable to non-IT people. Yes, I can. Yeah. No, there is nothing like local repo that we are discussing for now. This is just like a central region, let's say. So we'll show you on the on the GitHub Git page also. So just try to understand the concept. So we'll wrap up this concept quickly. So we'll move into the practicals. So let's say, yeah, let's say like, yeah, just take the project folder, or just take the project. So this is the project, and there is no, let's say here are some files at this particular point. So at this particular point of change, so the new user wanted to write few more lines of the code, and again the second user would like to write few more lines of code. So this is the initial version, and these new four dots are the version 1, and these are the version 2. So I wanted to update my initial version after these changes are being tested out. So what will I do? I will update this particular branch. If you observe, this was created when the code base was here, correct? So and now this has to go along with the changes which version 1 have been made. So now my version 1, version 2, initial version. So all the three versions are there. So with the help of Git, you can just track them like what have been modified in version 1. So it will show you these are the four lines which have been modified in the version 1, and it will show you these are the four digits which are being modified in the version 2. So yeah, we'll see much more, while doing the examples. So this is the basic, the basic concepts like Git is like effective version controlling system. Effective version controlling system and the distributed version controlling system means, let's say you have this in a centralized, let's say you you haven't merged anything yet, and you are at the same previous step like where the initial version was. Let's say these are called branches in, like, you can create like the version, let's say you can create a replica of it. Let's say you can create a replica of it, and you can start working on, instead of you working on this particular replica, let's say, without disturbing this, you can keep the source code like golden source, so you are not going to touch it, but you're going to create one replica. This is called the branch. So you're going to create a branch from the, it can be golden branch, can be any master branch or anything. We'll see like what is branch and how it's been written. So instead of writing your change on the golden branch, so you're going to create the changes on the branch which you create. So the same like this particular a golden branch, like, the master branch have the all the version control information like which file it is and how many number of lines and what is being modified in each version. So same can be tracked on the replica branch also. So here if you merge version 1, and from this particular branch you merge this version 1 onto the golden source, so you can the information and the tracking which you do on the both the uh, branches would be possible, like, but whereas in the clear case, the older version of a version control system, there would be only one central repository, so you cannot modify that, and from there you have to keep on applying one version and test it out. So here in this case, even before you are merging your changes to this golden branch, you can test out your entire code from this particular branch itself. So once this code is successfully tested, so then you can update the master code. Master code in the sense the golden code which you're seeing like the project source code. So then you can uh, use create, add these changes to the branch and test it out and then merge it back to the golden branch. So it's just like the overview is clear, guys. Something like the initial version and like later versions, and like, some just like we are going to create some branches. So we're going to see them practically so that you can understand more. Clear? Why are we using Git? Especially to versionizing, or like, to track the changes each individual do, like a collaboration. Not only collaboration, it's like, that to track the changes that you do in the project area. Clear, guys? Clear with it? Can we move ahead?
Yes.
Yes. So you will learn, the like, what is that branch, what is that replica. So you can understand, like, by looking instead of this theoretical explanation, if you look at that, like what exactly is being changed, how you are viewing the version, you can just understand. So i- Git is like, it's like open source software, but there are different flavors which Git is being provided with, like the source code. So you can install the Git and manage the source code repository in your local machine also. But there are some good providers like GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket. There are various providers. So you can just go to the browser and just hit like the Git providers, the different Git providers. You can see like GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab, Azure DevOps, and Stash, Bitbucket. So there are a lot, but their fundamental point, like the purpose which they are serving, is simple. It is common, like they have to enable us to create a project folder, and they have to enable us to see all the versions of code which we write. They have to enable us to see, like the merging of these changes, like from version 1 to the master and version 2 to the version 1, and effectively coordinate all the functionalities of Git. Clear? Yes. So for our class, we will use GitHub. So you can just type in GitHub or github.com. You can go to the direct URL like github.com. Yeah. So sign up. So everyone with me, create a account here. So even for the CI/CD pipelines that we're gonna build, or like so it's good to have a repository like an account in the GitHub. So it's a free account. So go to this particular URL and start creating your own account. Yeah, go to the GitHub, click on sign up. So it will ask for your email address. Enter your email address. So I have entered my email address. Actually, I do have an account, so I'm just using my one dummy email account which doesn't exist. So type in your email address and create a password. Then hit continue. Type in the username which you wanted to use. So yeah, this username, is it available? No. Yeah, create a username which is available. Yep, so this is available. So this is useful whenever you are trying to log in. So instead of using the email address, so you can directly use the username. So do you want to create any product announcements? You can type in no. So if you require, you can just type in yes. So start a project. So it will just verify. So spiral. So you can just click just to verify, and then hit create account. So the moment you hit create account, it will take you to enter a code which you have received at your mail. So you can just verify it. Were you able to follow this?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you created the accounts?
Yes.
Great. Then you can go back to the GitHub homepage. Like yeah, the moment you created it might be auto logged in, but you can just go to the github.com. So I don't want to go for the account verifications. So what is this? Yes, and then you can sign in using the username that you have created. So this is my username, and I'm just trying to log in. Yeah, the moment you log in, you can see the screen like this, which will enable you to create the you track the projects or so you can at your the main project you can start create the repository. So I will just walk you through one of the existing repo. Then tomorrow we'll try to create a new repo. And what does that mean? The repo, yeah, a repository is nothing but so you can see. Let's say there is one demo app which I have. So in the demo app, there is only one there. So let's say I have some commit history, like commit history in the sense the versions of the code. So when I just hit this one, so you can see my first commit, which is my first version. And in this particular, you know, so you can, so this demo app is nothing but your project folder. Clear? What I was telling is like the demo app is nothing but your project folder. And the commits project or project folder. So what is this project folder? Uh, repository. So from the name itself, it stands like it's the repository of code. So where you can save the code. Yes, repo. Perfect. And versions. These are nothing but the branches. So yeah, sorry. The versions are nothing but the commits which you made. Sorry for that. So commits. So commits in the sense the different changes which you make. Like let's say there are 20 commits on it. So we'll see this particular concept tomorrow, guys, like from the scratch, but I'm trying to make you understand like what is the repo or the repo stands for this entire code base of your application. So you can see the commits. So whenever you hit the commits, let's say this is my first commit with my initial code. And in this particular code, I have just made a change. I'm just trying to open it in a new tab. So create maven publish.yaml is one of the commit message I give to see. And then let's see what is the change that I have made here. Like a new file. A new file I have added here. Something like see showing one changed file with 34 additions and 0 deletions. So there is a file which is existing already. So it's being changed with 34 additions. What is the 34 line count? So 34 lines have been added and there is no deletion. So this is easy to track for me like what is being changed from my first commit. So now I can see from, so there is a change which happened in this feature slash KTF also. I can open it in a new tab and then see. So there are a couple of files which are being modified. You see this particular deploy.yaml is a new file. So it says like an addition to this particular file, a new file, this one. And then this yellow color symbol will tell you like the modification. The modification will tell you like what is being modified. So there are a couple of lines which were removed from the existing file. So we'll see this detail guys, but just as an overview, I'm giving you like what and all we can track, like any new file which you have made and any changes to the existing file, you can track it. So tomorrow when we try to practice, we'll create a new repository and each one of us will, first of all, we will try to clear the concepts on it. Then we will have a hands-on altogether. Clear everyone?
Clear.
Yeah. So, yes. So, thank you so much, guys. So, this is it for today. So, tomorrow we will learn, like, how to create a new repository and what are the branches, how the branches are being created, and what is a local repository and what is a remote repository, and how do we clone, what does that clone mean, what does the commits do, and how come it will be done. If possible, tomorrow itself we'll have a shared session among us, else we'll be having it on the next day. So, is that clear, guys?
Yes.